Hey guys, we're back. This is how we're going to install our painted stone onto the wall, sheetrock wall. What I've done is I've taken my thin set, put a thin layer over it. What it does is it gives it something sticky for the rock to hold on to instead of just relying on the paper from the sheetrock. It gives it something to bond to. So all I got is a 6-inch putty knife, drywall knife, and my stone that we painted as you saw in the last video. I grab a little bit of this thin set, put it on the back of the rock. I spread it out a little bit evenly around the edges. Then what I do is I'll run a groove right down the middle. That gives me a suction cup right there to stick it on the wall. So then we just go ahead and put it on the wall. What we got going on here is we're putting a TV mount all in here. We're going to use a nice stained piece of cedar wood, and this is just a board, a starter board I'll call it. So I'm going to the corner right here, got a nice straight surface, and all I do right there, line up my rock, push it on, and let the thin set ooze out all around it. And then that way I'm not going to have to come back and grout. I will take my finger, clean it off, tool it off, all around the edge of the rock, making it look like it is one solid surface. So as you can see, it is super easy. Now I got my clean bucket of water with a sponge. Rinse out, wring out your sponge thoroughly. Then, if the rock isn't on there very good, I'll kind of hold it in place and clean off the rock, also forming my thin set to cover all the edges around the rock. Don't worry about getting the rock super clean right now, because it's a lot easier after it's kind of set up soon. It's about an hour or so, and I'll come back. Make sure you don't use the dirty side of your sponge a lot on one rock. So there we go. We're ready for our next one. I'll dry fit the rock to see how it's going to look. I don't like it. I'm going to go for another one. I kind of like this one. Gray black. Set it in place. Boom. Looks good. Grab your thin set. Put it on the back of the rock in a nice little even pattern. I like to get a little bit on the edges to where I get that good ooze. Cut your suction cup or your groove and place on the wall, applying a little bit of pressure to getting it to ooze. You can shimmy and shake it a little bit if you need to get all that grout out from behind it and give you a nice tooling edge. So as you see right here, clean it off. And in between the rocks right there, I will take a little bit of extra with my finger and I will then grout that edge right there. Believe me, it looks hard, but it is really, really simple. Clean, fresh bucket of water, wring sponge out completely, and wipe off said rock. So there we go. We're moving right along. And then now that we got this little area right there, I will place a stone right in here. There we go. That's the fit. Once again, take your thin set or type S mortar, whatever you're using. Run a thin little bead on the back. Don't worry if you get too much, because your groove right here, you can take off a lot. Boom, right into home. And this is where she'll live for the rest of our lives. Clean off in between the two rocks right there, tooling and making a nice transition of your in between each rock, and boom. So see here, we got a little edge right here that needs a little bit more. I will scoop a little bit out of my bucket and tool it on with my finger. Flick off the extra mud into your bucket, get your sponge, wring it out thoroughly. I can't stress that enough, because if not, the water will run down your wall. You'll get drips and stuff like I did a little bit here, but you can clean that off, but you don't want a lot of it. I used the corner of the sponge I found, flipping the sponge over, getting a nice new clean edge. If not, you just keep wiping the same amount of thin set around that rock. So there we go. We see that we have a bunch on that rock. Fold the sponge in half, give it a couple of wipes, and boom. There we go. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And anyone can do this if you just try. Make your own stone, paint your own stone, and install your own stone. That is close to 1 square foot. Masons will charge anywhere from 20 to 50 bucks a square foot. So right there, I've already made my wages for an hour in approximately 30 minutes of total making, painting, installation, bringing them up here to the 3rd floor. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next segment. Thanks for tuning in.